Yes, it's time for Tradies, your favourite time of the week. All thanks to St Andrews Beach Brewery. The new brewery at Melbourne Park is the only place to be before a game at the G this season. I'm in the studio. Sam, according to Matthew Lloyd, is 19,000 kilometres away on the other side of the world in Belfast on one of the all-time junkets you would ever think about. Sam, hello and welcome from Belfast.
Hello and welcome from Belfast, Mitchell. No, my Irish accent is just awful. I've tried for a week. I can't get there, even though my family heritage is from here. Hello, everyone. Yes, great to be here. Been at the Open at tiny town at the northern tip of Northern Ireland for the best part of a week. And now just got a couple of days myself in Belfast before I fly out. So great to be here with the Tradies. I've run into a few Tradies fans over here, Mitchell, would you believe? So
international, are we?
Apparently, I literally had a bloke yell out to me from across the golf course, how are you going to do Tradies? Two boys from Melbourne who are here with family. And then I've just literally half an hour ago come from dinner by myself and ran into two boys from Melbourne who were over in Manchester watching Oasis in front of 80,000 people.
Wow.
Both big Tradies listeners. So, we run into them everywhere we go, which is great.
Before I get to the big question as to exactly why you went, because I'm still trying to work through that, how did you go in a town of 5,000-6,000 people? Because knowing you seem like a CBD Melbourne sort of operator. For a guy that goes outside, you don't feel like, apart from playing golf, it doesn't feel like you really operate much out of the 15-kilometre radius of Melbourne. So how did you go in an isolated town like Portrush?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with. No, I really enjoyed it. It's such a tiny town. I didn't realise how small it was until I got there. But beautiful golf course for any of our listeners who we know are golf fans, and there's a few of them. It's just an amazing place to be. And I've never covered an Open before, Mitch. I'm not sure how many other world events you've done. I haven't done a whole heap as far as majors. Like I've covered a few Aussie Opens in tennis. But, yeah, it was just such an amazing experience. We'll get to the air raid siren, but, just the whole sort of notion of what access you get to the players is really interesting when you compare it to the AFL world. So, yeah, I've had an absolute ball. But I have been keeping a close eye on all things football and all things trade-related, and I get the sense from you that there is just something percolating.
No, we'll get to that in a second. Plus the Tradies teas, all thanks to our friends of Lexus of Blackburn. Just hold on, Sam. There's a few more on the golf I want to get to. So you mentioned media, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, in the air raid as well. But did you secure the interview with Rory? Because that was a big part, I know, of why you went. Did you manage to sit down with a great man?
I can't comment on things that haven't been there. I can't comment.
Wait, hang on. That's a no. Have you given up? You're there for another 48 hours?
I can't comment, Mitchell, on things that haven't been released. But you're not on the ground here. I am. Okay, so don't have a crack at a bloke having a crack. I can't comment on those sort of things.
When's it going to run?
I can't comment. Is this just what it's like to be interviewed by me? I can't comment.
Okay. I reckon I'll be able to get it out of you by the end of the show. Did you get some downtime during the tournament? What was it like actually covering it? Because did you dag along with some of the superstars, or you stuck in the little compound from media? What was it like? Did you get out and about?
A little bit. They were long days. So players were teeing off at 6:45, 7 in the morning, and they weren't finishing, like the final group weren't finishing until, I think on the first two nights there were still guys on the golf course after 10 p.m. because it doesn't get dark here until about 10:45.
Yeah, so right. They
really interesting and definitely maximising their viewers in the US markets. So that was really interesting. I'm not sure how many of our listeners are interested in this. I was sharing a little apartment with a couple of Aussie journos. So I actually felt like I was in a hostel all over again. I was actually rooming with someone. Not usually, I know this will really surprise you, Mitchell, not usually my cup of tea.
Yeah, I sort of picked that up.
like my own space. But what I will say, just for before we exit junk chat and get to our normal trade talk, can I just say to all of our traders community, and I'm not necessarily splitting the atom here, whatever you do, just travel. Travel as much as you can. Like, it's been a while since I've been overseas, and it's just so good for the soul. It's just a different perspective. Getting away from footy has been nice. Seeing new things. We came here first thing from the morning. The Aussie boys who were going back to Melbourne, they dropped me on the way to Dublin today, and I walked to the Titanic Museum. Now, I'm not sure how many of our listeners care about this, but I've always been Titanic obsessed since I was little. My mum and my sister took me to the premiere of the movie on Boxing Day, and I've just been obsessed ever since. And today I actually got to go to the place where it was built, and just so interesting, like the history and the culture of this entire city, quite literally built on the foundations of this ship that was built to be unsinkable and then obviously infamously hit the iceberg. And, yeah, it was actually quite an emotional experience going to the museum, so I'd recommend it to anyone here. But, yeah, the lesson, Mitchell, is just travel. Travel as much as you can.
Now, I wish I could do it for a week or so like you have in footy season. Maybe I have to wait for post-footy season. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next 6 to 8 weeks looks like for a refreshed Sam McClure coming back from a little stint in Belfast. I reckon you'll have a few little nuggets up your sleeve. All right. Enough of the junk chat. People are here for some footy conversation.
What have you got?
A fresh one. We have a fresh one.
You've got something. What have you got?
There's a couple of big stories that I think are going to explode. It's going to be a big trade period.
So a name is coming off the whiteboard today, Sam.
Oh.
And his name is Marcus Bontempelli. He has re-signed a 4-year deal with the Western Bulldogs. It will take him through until the end of 2029. At that point, he'll be a 33, about to turn 34-year-old. It's taken until round 20, but Bont is off the whiteboard. He is officially staying with the Western Bulldogs. So you'll be able to catch more of his chat tonight on 7 News. Little plug. And goes into exactly why he, I hope he does, exactly why he's taken this long. But after 20 weeks of us banging on about it, we can finally take him off.
Okay, well, I need to know. Like, I know you can't before it goes live and exclusive on 7 News, but I need some sort of reason why it's taking this long.
Well, I still need to put the interview to air, but reading and speaking to those people around this, he continues to trot out the line. He had the cafe. He had a few things going on in his personal life. He's a guy that's always taken his time to the second half of year of signing contracts. But I want to drill down exactly why, and whether other clubs came, because it's pretty rare that a captain who wanted to stay, if he wanted to stay all along, takes until round 20 to get it done. So keen to hear that and his explanation of how that all unfolded.
That is an amazing bomb that you have just dropped.
Wow, I think we've been sort of thinking he's heading in that direction for a while, right? Yeah,
I understand that. So 4 more years.
My understanding is it's more than $5 million for that 4 years, so he's going to be looked after. And this goes back to the conversation you and I had last year on the show. As a 26-year-old, he signed a 4-year deal. Most guys would sign 6 or 7, but ultimately from his free agency year to the end of his second contract, he'll have now signed 8 years, which is pretty good going for Bont. And every one of those 8 years, I believe, will be over $1 million. So it's pretty good going. Who, for the top 1 or 2 players in the competition, I'd have him number 1. Is well deserved. But he took a little bit of a risk with going with the 4 originally, and it's paid off.
A couple of yes or no questions for you. Yes or no, Marcus Bontempelli plays in another premiership in Western Bulldogs colours?
No.
Yes or no, Marcus Bontempelli plays in another grand final in Western Bulldogs colours?
I'll say yes to that.
Okay.
I just think for a list that
I'm not sure you absolutely believe that, by the way.
I just think, well, he's got 4 years, or 5 years if you include this year's final series. I can't see them making the grand final this year. He'll have 4 years after that. They've got the best young under 21 player in the competition in Sam Darcy.
Yep.
if you look at the next 4 years, the maths, there's 8 slots in grand finals up for grabs. If they can cash in and take one of them, and while Bont's still playing good footy and Darcy's there, you got Ed Richards, it'd have to be a show, wouldn't they?
Yeah, as I've said for a long time now, I really like their list. I'm just not convinced on their consistency as a team. But their best is really good, and Bontempelli's best is really good. And your point is well made about Darcy. Hey, so from Darcy to another young superstar, Harley Reid. So I must admit, I've sort of been reading, bits and pieces about this while I've been overseas. There's a contract extension on the table from West Coast, which I think we knew, right? Like we knew for
we've been talking about that for a while. So the Eagles have put all different options to him: 2, 4, 7. Basically, you name it, Harley. We'll get the conversation rolling. But obviously, it takes 2 to tango. And the latest reports this week have been that Harley Reid's management, Nick Geeshan of Connor Sports Management, has gone back to the Eagles with a few proposals as to what those extensions could look like. So that's clearly a positive for the Eagles.
So I know we've talked about this situation a lot, right? I'm just going back there. I just want to know what the exact score was because I saw some highlights of that game. So they got absolutely pantsed by Richmond.
Yeah, and he was the lone soldier in the midfield.
So they got done by 49 points against a team that shouldn't be 49 points better than them right now.
Mm-hmm. Especially on their home deck at Optus. Now, the Eagles have lost McGovern, Allen, Graham serving a homophobic slur ban. They've got good players out of that side. But as you say, Richmond should not be entering a game of footy this year away from home, winning by 50 points.
So my question to you is, and I don't mean for this to sound harsh at all, because it's not meant to be, because we know we love Harley. But my question to you is, if Harley Reid in his second year was having the year that Nick Dacos had in his second year, would we be having this same conversation? Like, if he was that good that early, and again, like, this is no judgment. I'm not saying that he's not going to be that good. I'm comparing him to, someone very recently. If he was that good that early, I don't think Nick Geeshan's having that conversation with West Coast at this point, right? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say to you, Mitch, is it's probably good management that Nick Geeshan, knowing that Harley isn't perhaps in the superstar form that we potentially anticipated him to be, is trying to get something like this locked in early. If he was Nick Dacos year 2 right now and had 6 clubs hunting him, he probably doesn't need to do anything, right? Do you understand the point I'm making?
Yeah, I do. The only thing is he's got a 3-year contract and he's a year and 3/4 through that now. So he's about to end of the second year of that 3-year contract. Would you not be better served? We've all spoken about his pre-season of this year just gone, that it was probably not to the level and he left a little bit to be desired and he started the year pretty slow off the back of it. Would you not wait until March of your third year to try and cash in and wait till your form's really peaking?
But I think that's the point I'm making. I think we're arguing the same point. Like, why re-sign now? Why talk about re-signing now? Like, so if
maybe Harley's getting his head around the Eagles and starting to fall in love with the place.
Yeah, but it's my argument to you would be, and I know that people will say this is a cynical view, I think that would be in part due to the fact that he may not be playing the footy that he thought that he would be. Now, his form has been patchy. His best is outstanding.
Yeah,
but
he had 20 disposals in the first half on the weekend.
Yeah, no, I know. We know his best is unbelievable. But what I'm saying to you is I'm watching West Coast as a neutral, and I'm thinking to myself, they're not getting better anytime soon. So if I'm Harley Reid, and I've got a 3-year deal, and I'm towards the end of the second year, why re-sign? There's just no point unless my form necessitates that it's better for me to cash in now. That's the only point that I'm making.
Yeah. So you think maybe they think he's nearing his ceiling in what this 3-year window would look like?
Well, no, not necessarily a ceiling. All I'm saying is that it may end up being a great deal for both parties. for him to re-sign now. Whereas 10 weeks ago, if you and I are having this conversation, it's like, well, Harley couldn't possibly stay at West Coast, could he? And now it feels a little bit more like, well, maybe it's better if he stays because maybe he's not getting the monster deals elsewhere that he otherwise would have. I'm just posing that as a question.
Yeah, I still think clubs would come with monster deals. I don't think the first 10 weeks of this year would deter them. I think he showed enough in his first year, and I think there's enough widely acknowledged talent.
But if you were handing out 10-year deals tomorrow and it's Sam Darcy, Nick Dacos and Harley Reid, like he's a distant third.
Yep.
That's the only point that I'm raising. Like it's, the air is thin at the top, so we're talking about very small degrees here.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to end up being a 250-game superstar. I'm just talking about, the politics of him looking to re-sign now versus not.
Now, Sam, you've been wanting to do this for some time. While we're talking whiteboards, Harley Reid was put on mine last week. Let's see how long he stays on there. I think there's a few clubs in Victoria still thinking and still hopeful they might be able to pry him out of the Eagles. We're going to go through each other's whiteboards. We're going to ask each other about who's on theirs. And it's a simple stay or go. So I'm going to kick things off and go through your guys.
Wait, so you can only say stay or go. There's no explanation.
You can add a little bit of description around it, but ultimately there's a stay or go attached.
No explanation. No.
Okay, so it's one word. All right. Sam's still making the rules all the way from Belfast. Okay. Jamara Ugle-Hagan, he's the top of your whiteboard. Stay or go?
Go. Luke Jackson.
Okay. Stay.
Okay.
That 6-year deal, going to be a bit tough.
No explanation. Move on.
Tom de Koning.
Go. Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera.
Still stay as of round 20. Oscar Allen on your whiteboard.
Mitch, I can't be more specific about this.
But
no explanation. Stay or go.
This is going to get written off.
It's stay or go.
Revealed. Stay or go. Oscar Allen, Sam.
Go. Marcus Bontempelli's off, so I'm removing him. Oh, this is juicy. Sam Draper.
Go. my names are starting to evaporate pretty quickly. I might need to find a few more. Like, is Hugo Rolf Smith still doing the rounds? Bailey Fritsch.
Stay.
Okay.
Rowan Marshall.
Well, you said Tom de Koning was going, so I can only imagine that's St Kilda. So I'm going to say go for Rowan Marshall to leave the Saints.
Okay.
Zach Butters on your whiteboard. 2025 we're talking here.
Stay. Leckerli.
Go.
Oh, strong.
James Warple.
Go. Gone.
How long's he been gone for?
Riley O'Brien.
Go.
Oh, boy.
Clayton Oliver.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Stay.
Okay.
Changwat Jack, CJ.
Stay.
Okay.
Zach Merritt.
Stay.
Okay.
Harley Reid.
Stay. We're talking 2025. And the last name, and I want to have a bit more of a chat off the back of this guy, Jack Silvani. The last name on your whiteboard.
Oh, I'm exacerbated about this. I'm pulling my hair out. How long, Mitch?
You still think he's Carlton's most influential player?
How long have I been talking to you about Jack Silvani for?
The best part of 3 years on this show.
I think even pre-tradies. I never really understood why Silvani wasn't rated. Like, I always thought I was watching a different game.
Well, when you get dropped to the twos at least once a year for 3 years before you do your ACL, clearly Carlton have the same view of most people. There's to work out exactly where he fits and why he's not an A grader like you want to put him in the conversation as.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I've been on record as saying before, Jack Silvani playing twos is just one of the more ridiculous things I've ever seen in my time.
Stay or go, Sam. You said it was a stay or go. Simple.
No, I'm going to. I'll get to that, but I'm going to turn this into. I'm turning it into a mini nuts and bolts. So Link,
stay or go first,
Link,
and then
play
we get
the stinger, please.
No, mate.
All right, so
I know you're in Belfast. You're 14 time zones away. You made the rules at the start, and now you're not abiding by them. This is an insult to the tradies community. You've got to give us a word, and then you get on to the rest.
Oh. Stay.
Okay.
But only because I don't have the courage to say go. This has been building for a long time, Mitchell. Like,
the boys have had a 4-year deal in front of him.
Yeah. I don't think I can properly describe or enunciate exactly how significant the Silvani name is at Carlton. It's probably top 5 football names for their clubs in history.
Just at Carlton or in the history of the game?
No, the history of the game.
Mm.
We're talking about three generations here. And Jack was, I think, what was he, big in the 60s? The 50s or the 60s?
50s or 60s. I think it was actually Adrian Adoro at Essendon who put the bid on him, which prompted his old mate Sauce to have to match it. Was it Sauce? Was Sauce there at that point?
My memory is that he was, and he had to sort of remove himself from the whole process when they drafted him.
Okay.
Or that might have been Ben, or it might have been both. I'd have to go back and have a look. But I know this is a really taboo topic for Carlton people, and I know that there's a lot of people that won't like me talking about this, but I want to go back to the final week of November 2019. So Stephen Silvani had essentially built the bones. He'd built the spine of the team that we see today. And he had a disagreement with then CEO Kane Little. Things were simmering on the surface for a long time. And then for reasons that the club decided, because it was essentially awkward that he had 2 sons on the list, he would be removed as list manager. Now, I don't think clearly the club didn't really think it through at the time and how it would be received. And it was the first board meeting of December in 2019 that Stephen Silvani actually requested to the board that on the way out he'd like to address the board, and I'm told delivered some home truths. Fast forward 2 weeks, Mitchell, and Jack and his younger brother Ben, who's no longer on the list, were both suspended, right? By the way, for an incident that took place in the middle of November for drinking at a music festival because they were in rehab outside of football season.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Very classic Carlton stand for something when it doesn't really matter in the middle of the off-season. And I don't think the club has ever fully recovered from that incident in which one of their greatest ever players, a 300-gamer, what is he, 2-time premiership player, a 5-time best and fairest winner off the top of my head.
Team of the century.
Team of the century. His name is literally etched into the history of the club. I don't think that the club has ever fully recovered from how they treated one of their all-time greats. We now have a scenario that his son, who was also disrespected in the sense that they never found a position for him, they always flipped his magnet around. They dropped him to the twos on several occasions. And as I said on this podcast, a month ago, I think he's their most important player. He is out of contract and is now being courted by, according to Jay Clark from the Herald Sun, and he's always on the money, but by their arch rivals Collingwood. I mean, Mitch, Martin Scorsese couldn't write this sort of drama. It is just outrageous. The very fact that Collingwood have approached him and his manager, Tom Petroro, and think that there is a way, that there is some sort of reality or possibility in which he's playing in black and white stripes, should be the biggest alarm bell to that football club. And yet, as they have continued to do for years and years and years, they apathetically go forward as if none of this stuff really matters. Well, I can tell you right now, if Jack Silvani round one next year is playing for Collingwood, Lord, oh Lord, there is going to be a reaction from the faithful. But they have put themselves in this position. They've put themselves in this position because what's the sell to Jack Silvani at the moment, Mitch? So I'll tell you what the sell from Craig McRae is. Jack, you've been going really well at Carlton. You can play a variety of positions, which we love. We've lost Nathan Murphy. We've got Jeremy Howe, who's about to leave us. We need someone of your skill set to come and play alongside Darcy Moore. And for the next 5 or 6 years of your career, we think that half of those years can be spent playing in grand finals. Pretty good sell for me. Pretty good sell. Now, Mitch, I'll throw this back to you. What's the sell from Carlton?
Yeah, come and be part of a club where your family history is synonymous with the competition, where you've got close friends and you've made your name already as a footballer, and we've backed you in through an ACL. We see you a big part of our future. I know I'm just playing devil's advocate. And Jack, surely you're not going to play for another club. Surely Carlton's in your blood, and surely you're not going to walk out on us through this. It's only been a year down. Don't forget we played in a prelim 2 years ago, Jack.
Yeah, things have gone particularly well since then. I mean,
I'm going to cut to the chase to you. Do you think the situation with Sauce, don't forget he didn't enter the rooms. One of his other sons famously said that he went to the car and sat in the car under the MCG when Jack had his 100-game presentation in the rooms a couple of years ago at the MCG. Do you think the Sauce situation makes it easier for Jack to walk out on Carlton than it would have been, say, 3 years ago?
I don't know. I don't presume to know. I don't want to speak on behalf of Jack. I don't want to speak on behalf of Stephen or Joe or the family because I really don't know the answer. All I will say to you is, from a tradies perspective, Carlton have created this situation. Like, forget that. Let's just remove the fact just for a moment that his name is Silvani. If his name was Jack Smith, like, what are they doing? He's in their best 5 players almost every time he plays. He has literally been used as full forward, fullback, second ruck, tagger. Like,
yeah, but where his performances, I've loved his season, but his performances as a forward didn't warrant him to be in that conversation as a top 5 player at the league, at the club.
Well, they didn't play him there consistently. They moved him back. I vividly remember him playing a game in Perth against Freo where he tagged Nat Fyfe out of the game. And with the greatest respect, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, Jack's not particularly quick. He's not a midfielder, but he just he's so competitive that he ends up just doing really well in wherever he plays. And if it wasn't so sad that Collingwood would think they're a chance of getting him, it would be funny. But it's not funny because it feels like he's a genuine chance of going. Now,
I just want to put out there, I don't think Carlton is disrespecting him at the moment either. He's come off an ACL. He's had a week off with a groin injury at the start of the year. Now he's missed 3 weeks with a groin injury. At 28, he's got a 4-year contract in front of him. It's not like Carlton is completely disrespecting him in the current state.
I disagree. I think they've disrespected him.
What more should Carlton do then to show respect?
Well,
what more can they do?
Well, no, I'm not saying Nick Austin, the list manager, is disrespecting him now, but the fact is they're drastically underperforming.
The other layer to this, at Collingwood, his best mates with Dan Houston. And ironically, it was Jack Silvani's wedding where the whole Dan Houston move back to Victoria sort of started to blossom.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about them reuniting. So that's got to be a factor too, to potentially play with one of your best mates who, don't forget, end of last year, Houston wanted to play at Carlton with Jack. And then the Blues couldn't get the deal done, and they decided to prioritise other areas, move up in the draft for Jagger Smith. So it could be a real sliding doors moment. Houston doesn't land at the Blues, and then Jack, does he go follow him and want to play in black and white stripes with him in the same backline?
Yeah, I shudder to think what the day online will be and what the day of people at Icon Park will be if he leaves to go to Collingwood. It would be one of the darker days in the modern history of that footy club, and that is saying something.
Link's just writing that down. I think that's going to end up on social in about 3 hours, so that'll go well. Now, speaking of father-sons, I want to talk about another one who's currently out of the game. His name is Joe Daniher. He's 31. He was arguably the player of the final series last year for Brisbane as they won a breakthrough premiership. And there's clubs coming out of the woodwork, Sam, to try and get him out of retirement. I wasn't expecting, though, to be talking about the Melbourne Footy Club when it come to Joe Daniher. Now, reported on 7 News last night, the Demons and Simon Goodwin are making a play to try and convince Joe to get out of retirement. He spent the last few months in Europe. Obviously, he lives in northern New South Wales. This is a long shot. When I report this, I'm not saying it's going to happen by any stretch, but the Demons are trying their best, and there are 3 connections at the Demons to work through. So Simon Goodwin was with Joe at Essendon as an assistant coach for 2 years before Goodwin moved on to the Melbourne Footy Club under Paul Roos. Nathan Bassett was an assistant coach at Essendon, who's currently now at the Demons with Joe Daniher for 3 years at the Bombers. And Jake Melksham, a former teammate who, probably in the form of his life at Melbourne, is a former teammate of Joe's. Now, just want to stress, not saying this is necessarily going to happen, but I think it just gives it and paints a picture of where Melbourne is at. Simon Goodwin a couple of weeks ago saying this is a list in transition, but they're still trying these things, still trying to get a 31-year-old, and it just points and paints the picture, I think, as to their hunt for a key forward option for a club that's seriously lacked one in the last couple of years.
I love it, Mitch. I couldn't love it any more from the Melbourne Footy Club. I've been really critical. We've been really critical of the fact that they're just not linked to enough, star forwards in the trade period, whether they're contracted or uncontracted. And I'm with you. This feels like a long shot, but I just love that they're throwing their hat in the ring. This is exactly the sort of thing that they should be doing. If it comes off, amazing. He's worth the risk. The juice is worth the squeeze. If it doesn't, then you say to your members, hey, we're in the business of winning games. We're in the business of winning flags. This guy was out there. He was available. Simon Goodwin, used to have a relationship with him, or had a relationship with him at Essendon. We tried our best. It didn't work out. It's a win-win for me, for Melbourne. There's no lose in this, right? So I think this is a club that has been sitting on its hands for too long. As I said to you many weeks ago, I don't think that they've accepted reality quickly enough, particularly with the Petrarca and the Oliver situation. They clearly need a goal-kicking forward. He would also solve their problem of the second ruck to help Max out. So it makes complete sense. Well done, bravo. I watch with great interest.
If they were somehow able to pull this off, do they make the top 8 next year?
Maybe. I mean,
I
always think back to Collingwood. Yeah, I always think back to Collingwood under Nathan Buckley. Like, they finished 17th that year. And then Craig McRae comes in and takes them to a prelim in his first year. Now, we're not talking about a coach change here with Melbourne, but, outside of Nick Dacos, who obviously a very good player, it was essentially the same squad. So I think that, the tiniest change to the recipe can change the whole meal sometimes. And Daniher could be that. I like Melbourne's kids. I've said that for a while. Their older guys are still good enough at their best. How long have May and Lever and Gawn and to a lesser extent Petrarca and Oliver got? I don't know, but I would prefer as a Melbourne fan them having a crack to stay up than, declaring, we won one with this group, we're going to go back down to come up. I don't like that. They've been through that before. It took too long. So have a throw at the stumps at Danaher. I think it's terrific.
And just on Danaher, on the long shot he decides to backflip and come out of retirement, I think Brisbane would be in the box seat given...
Right.
Not that he owes them, but there'd be a sense of, hey, I walked
he
out
does
now.
owe them. No, he does owe them.
Yeah, he got him a flag, but...
Yeah, but they plucked him from obscurity at Essendon and, turned him into... They turned his body around, and I'm not... As you know, with me, I'm not massive on players owing, but I think there's some sort of debt in this unique circumstance that if he was to come out of retirement, he has to at least listen to Brisbane first, right?
Yes, that's more my point. But I would say the same person that told me about Joe retiring in July last year just decided to flick a July message this year. So let's see where that lands.
But you're still getting info from Brian Taylor. The Bristol's still handing you stuff.
No. The Bristol one was a September job.
I know. I'm just baiting.
Just on Essendon, I wanted to play a piece of audio that found it quite interesting from Brad Scott on the weekend on ABC Radio, talking about the list, where they're at. Are they in the business of finding players and going and getting them out, or are they going to go again to the draft? They're going to have 2 top 6 picks the way it stands. They're going to have their own pick plus Melbourne's. And the fact that D's lost on the weekend was music to the ears of all Essendon fans. This is Brad Scott speaking on the weekend.
I'm biased towards building teams rather than buying them, and I love investing in the draft and investing in young players, and I'm conscious that our club's in a difficult position, partly because we did go sort of hunting for big fish previously, and we need to build a really solid base of good quality players before we're looking for the one player solution.
Love that from Brad, honest, and someone at Essendon has finally said it. Dodoro's been out the door for 12 months, and someone's finally come out and said that this is a club that, in other words, has gone, we'll go to the trade period, we'll attack, and then we'll go to the draft. We'll go back to the trade period, then we'll go back to the draft. Someone has finally said it. He used the big fish word, so I went back and looked at the 5 years before Brad got there, Sam. These are the players that Essendon brought in. So Dylan Shield for 2 first-rounders, Jake Stringer, pick 25 and 35, Devon Smith, they used pick 11, but they got back 25 and a second-rounder, so a bit of a switch there, but essentially they parted ways with 11, got back 25 and a second-rounder. Jake Kelly was a free agent. Peter Wright for a 4th-rounder. Adam Sard, a 2nd-rounder, who ultimately left. Jai Caldwell, pretty cheap in the end, picked 29 and a 2nd-rounder. Nick Hine for a bag of chips. They also got Tom Cutler and Andrew Phillips. So they're the 5 years before Brad Scott. And since Brad Scott has been there, these are the guys they've gone and got from other clubs. Ben Mackay is a free agent. Obviously no pick, but big money they had to part ways with there. They had the salary cap room to do it. So too Jay Gresham, no pick as a free agent, but they're paying him $700,000 a season. Xavier Dersma, a straight swap for Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. Todd Goldstein as a free agent. Will Setterfield for nothing, or basically nothing. And Sam Wiedemann for pick 37 and then another swap of picks. So the big fish there he's clearly talking about is Dylan Shield, and maybe you could put Stringer and Devon Smith in that conversation. But what did you make of those Brad Scott comments?
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that they've finally got a clear strategy. I mean, I don't really like the list of guys that they brought in under Dodoro that you just read out. Having said that, in his defence, I think off the top of my head, Devon Smith and Peter Wright both won BNFs in their first year, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not their first year pretty early, yeah.
I think both of them were first year. But anyway, they're relevant. Both of them definitely won BNFs. So if you went through the last 10 years of clubs bringing in blokes from other clubs, I would say to you that it would be rare that they win BNFs at others. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Did Dunkley win one at Brisbane?
Oh.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah. I'm not going to get in. I'll be sitting here for 5 minutes thinking.
He won a BNF in his last year at the Bulldogs and had to leave.
Didn't win one at Brisbane?
Not to this point, no.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty rare. So that's a tick. But I think to your point and a little bit to Brad's point, Essendon have kind of been in this halfway house for a while where they weren't exactly sure. And then when they were sure and they got the 3 top 10 picks, they didn't really hit. Now, again, in fairness to Dodoro, it wasn't a great draft off the top of my head. So I'm like...
Yeah, and it was COVID too. The kids hadn't played
they
a lot of
didn't miss
footy.
out on heaps. But if you're an Essendon fan, you've just been pulling your hair out, right? Because the guys that they have brought in haven't worked. And they haven't... It hasn't really felt like they've had a clear strategy. So I've said this on this pod before. I've said it on radio before. I'll go back to it. I think Brad Scott's first interview as Essendon coach with Jake Nile, he talked about entitlement and that Essendon have had an entitlement problem for a long time and that this club, like everyone else, is not entitled to any success. They have to earn it. And so I understand that, and I work with Lloydie, I sit next to him every Monday at Classified. Like, I understand that Essendon people continue to be frustrated by the fact that they're not propelling up the ladder. But what I would say to you is that I feel like for the first time in a long time, at least I know what Essendon are trying to achieve.
Yep.
And they have a clear strategy now with their list development.
Yeah. I just think tough this year. Injuries have crippled the footy club. There's not much the coaching staff can do in terms of getting them to play on a weekend and contend. But I look at Hawthorn, the list of 2024, and I've made this point earlier in this year on the show. In 2024, they were the 17th oldest list in the competition, and on average, the 16th most experienced list in the competition, and they still made finals. They were a kick away from making a prelim. Fremantle this year, they're the 11th oldest list in the competition and the 15th for experience. Now, Essendon is 14th for age and 11th for experience. Don't forget the Dockers this year too. They haven't got anything out of Michael Walters, and Nat Fyfe next to nothing, and they're the 2 most experienced and oldest players on the list. So it might feel like a while off for Essendon, but I think this is a club that should be pushing for the finals next year. As silly as that sound, what we've seen this year,
I'm sorry.
They should be.
Hang on, I'm all the way in Belfast here. You're going to have to repeat that. You think they're going to do what next year?
I don't think they will, but they should be pushing for the finals. The age should be no barrier. We've seen Hawthorn do it in 24 and Freo likely to do it this year with young, inexperienced teams. For those that can't see this, Sam's holding up the no deal sign like he's just on an episode of Deal or No Deal.
Essendon are as much of a chance of playing finals next year as West Coast.
I can't wait to play that next year when Essendon get on a roll. They finally get Reid, Ridley and Mackay humming together. And don't forget, they've got 2 academy kids. So we saw Kako last year. They've got 2 kids many feel sort of top 25, 30 in this year's draft, Hussein Alakar and Adam Swede. So be exciting forward line next year.
They'll both be superstars at AFL level next year, so that'll help them.
Why are you so cynical on kids? It's like you have to wait for them to play 50 games before you can actually rate someone.
Because you do, Mitch. We're like...
Ollie Dempsey played his 50th game on the weekend and he's played 30 good ones in that 50.
And how many Ollie Dempseys are there?
I don't know. Nick Dacos' first 50 were pretty good.
Oh, you're going to pick up Nick Dacos and Ollie Dempsey.
Harley, Reid, Sam Darcy. How many more? Like, Jasper Fletcher, Darcy Wilmot.
Yeah, I could name you 100 top 15 picks that either never made it or we had to wait 5 years until we worked out whether they could play or not.
Aaron Cadman's played pretty well in his from game 40 to 50.
Yeah, and he's taken a while.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's everyone mark this down. What are we, the 22nd of July? Everyone mark this episode down. Halfway through next year, let's see how Essendon are going, and let's see how the 2 academy kids are going.
Okay. I know everyone's been waiting for this. I'm adding one to Mitch's men. It's been a good haul, and I think this guy's built for a big 5 weeks to end the season and heading into finals. Corey Wagner went from North Melbourne to Melbourne and Fremantle. I reckon if he walked down Swan Street now, if he walked past 40 people, 2 people would recognise him, and he's playing a pivotal role for the Dockers in the run home into finals.
Which is ironic, Mitchell, because Corey Wagner used to make me my coffee at Cheeky Monkey on Swan Street.
What?
Yeah.
He worked there. Is this between stints at AFL clubs?
Yeah, it was. So hang on, I'm trying to get this. Did he start at Melbourne?
He started at North.
Started at North, and then he got picked up by the D's was it a pre-season draft?
now I'm going to have to delve into the life and times of Corey Wagner. Hang on.
I need like a mini nuts and bolts on Corey Wagner.
Okay, so drafted in 2015 to the North Melbourne Footy Club.
Yep.
He was there until 2017. Delisted. Then played for Casey in 2018 in the VFL. He was picked up by Melbourne ahead of 2019.
Yep.
Delisted. And then spent a couple of years at Port Melbourne in the VFL, and he was picked up by Fremantle ahead of 2023.
How many games did he play at North and then at Melbourne? Does it say that?
Eight at North, 11 at Melbourne, and now he's just played, he's into the 30s at the Dockers, so he's into the 50s in his AFL career, and he's now, I would argue, the accolade of his career, he's made it to Mitch's men.
Yeah, so I think I've told you this story before. I'm just not sure if I've told it on the pod. I've definitely told you off air. Corey used to make my coffee at Cheeky Monkey.
Wow.
And then when he got delisted by North, so long story short, I didn't know who he was.
That doesn't surprise me because, as discussed previously on the show, unless you're a top 15 pick or a private schoolboy.
Oh, that's nasty. And then he got picked up. And I believe his partner, whose name off the top of my head is Michaela, she was a waitress at Cheeky Monkey as well.
Sheesh.
And they met while working there. Anyway, it's just a lovely story.
Anyway, I just like the fact that as a 28-year-old, he's doing his thing at the Dockers now. He is, when it comes to finals and dependable players, he's one of those. And he signed on until 2026 at the Dockers. And just finally on Corey Wagner, you were right, his partner's Michaela, and they've got a young child living in the West now. So the cheeky monkeys, yeah.
Yeah, all part of the Cheeky Monkey community.
Corey Wagner deserves his own nuts and bolts at some stage.
Hey, before we go, it's time for you to make your debut on the Tradies Tees for the great people at Lexus of Blackburn. This is one of the things that either you or I could not get to the whiteboard or not get to 7 News or the Age newspaper, and you are making your debut. Welcome.
Okay, here I go. Sam, has a premiership defender recently fielded calls from a team currently in the bottom 4?
Premiership defender.
That is the Tradies Tees. That is it. As you pointed out 2 weeks ago when we started this, that is it. No more.
Nick Floston?
That is it. No more conversation. That is it. I'm not taking this any further. Thanks for your time listening to the Tradies. Don't forget the air raid. And just quickly, episodes will drop in the next few days. It's all thanks to our friends at St Andrews Beach Brewery, the new brewery at Melbourne Park, the best place to find a beer before the footy and a game at the G.
Farewell.